Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. The real power. Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. The real power. Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. Oh, Exide. The real power.
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of the Exide Sevens rugby tournament that was held at Belgravia Sports Club over 5 weeks. My name is Shingra Emmanuel Mponde and I'm going to take you through the exciting journey. First off, we're going to have a review of how the teams played, and in the middle segment we're going to look at who graced the tournament, and in the final segment we're going to have an interview with the Harare Rugby Board Secretary Shingi Vere, and we'll take a look at a team that is exciting that comes all the way from Domboshawa. We are now going to give you a review of 5 weeks of intense action that occurred at Belgravia Sports Club.
2018 marked the inaugural edition of the Exide Sevens series with 14 teams taking part, and when the 2019 edition kicked off, there was excitement given the massive growth of the tournament, which had more sides battling for honors.
As a corporate, we're happy that this year the tournament is bigger, from 14 teams last year to 24, and would like to encourage other corporates to come in and sponsor many other sports, as 2020 is an Olympic year and we want to get ready as a country, so we encourage other corporates to do the same.
When action got underway, Harare Province Secretary Shingai Vere had just one thing on his mind.
We've got teams that are playing good rugby, that have been well coached, and we are anticipating that the players will go on to represent our country, which is what we're looking forward to.
With exposing young talent to a competitive environment among the key goals of the Sevens extravaganza, the tournament sponsors outlined their commitment of ensuring the event continues to grow.
We are here to confirm and to tell you that the Rugby Sevens series will be growing every year. We are not stopping, but we hope that even next year it will be even bigger than this year.
There was lots of excitement on the opening weekend of action, which saw Old Hararians, Old Georgians, Mutare Sports Club and Pitbulls winning all their group games. Old Hararians got the better of XP Horns 33-21 before a 7-point win saw them getting the better of Mbare Select. OH would then cap off their group campaign strongly with a 24-0 win over Mfakos, ensuring they ended match day 1 with a clean sweep. In Pool B, Old Georgians proved the team to beat after opening their campaign with a 37-5 victory over the University of Zimbabwe before hammering event debutants Southern City 47-0. Old Georgians would then cap off the day with a 100% winning record after a 19-7 win over an emerging Mapuku side. In Pool C, a fired-up Mutare Sports Club gave fans lots to cheer about with a comprehensive 35-0 win, seeing them dispatch Alex Sports Club before a 21-0 win saw them make it 2 out of 2. In their final encounter of the day, Mutare asserted their dominance with a 43-0 win over Zambezi Steelers, seeing them top their group with 9 points. In Pool D, Pitbulls were the team to beat, with a squad dominated by Churchill Boys High School students, laying a significant marker in their quest for glory after winning all their 3 encounters against Heathcliff, Police Defenders and Zimbiru, as they topped their group with ease. The second week of play would see action reaching the knockout phase as teams now battled for superiority on the rankings ladder. Pitbulls proved unstoppable on match day 2 after hammering Mapuku 47 in the Cup quarter-final before edging Mutare Sports Club 28-24 in a tense encounter. In the final, Pitbulls would get the better of Old Georgians 22-19 to claim first place on the standings as Old Georgians settled for second place.
Well, they started off a bit slow. I think they panicked a little bit because we're playing OGs. You know, OGs is a renowned team, probably the best that we've got in this country. But yeah, they got themselves together, kept their composure, and yeah, they won the game, so I'm proud of them, yes.
What does this say about the tenacity within these boys?
Well, you can see that they're coming from a bulldog spirit, so there's a lot of tenacity there, so yeah, I'm quite proud of them, yeah.
Mutare claimed third position on the standings after overcoming Old Hararians 19-14 in a third place playoff. With the program proving to be free-flowing and without any hitches, the tournament sponsors expressed joy with the level of organization.
When people are organized, it means everything is moving forward in the right direction. So those people with direction, those with a vision like this, they need to be supported, they need to be encouraged. So we want to thank the management and the organizers of this event so that we continue to support, continue to mobilize resources for them so that we move forward and increase in terms of sport. This rugby thing, it's quite excitement, it's quite encouraging, a lot of talent, so we need to encourage and continue to support them.
Despite a competitive environment blossoming at Belgravia Sports Club, the major worry was the absence of national selectors, with the province's Secretary Shingivere outlining the need to capitalize on the Sevens platform created.
Rome was not built in a day, and what the technical and the powers that be at the top need to understand is that unless they nurture a young man or a young lady who's 18, 19 years old today, when it's Olympics in 2020 or the Olympics in 2024, that young man or woman is going to represent us then, and it starts today and it starts right now. And this is the breeding ground for the future national team players, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to develop rugby in our province and ultimately develop rugby for the country of Zimbabwe.
With a positive vibe prevailing at the Sevens tourney, Exide reaffirmed the thrust of aiding the developmental process of budding talent.
Our aim is to continue to provide support these youngsters, to continue to develop this grassroots development in terms of sport so that we give them support throughout. You know, these days things are, in terms of employment, there are no jobs, but we can support these guys so that they get through in every situation that they are, sporting activities. Some are earning a living through sport.
Like the previous two match days, match day 3 proved very competitive, with Pitbulls clinging on to pole position after edging Mavuku 14-12 before getting the better of Zambezi Steelers 47 and Old Hararians 35-7. Out of all the games played, it was Mavuku's emergence which caught the eye following a narrow 14-12 defeat to top-ranked side Pitbulls.
You know, last week it was our first tournament to compete at the Exide Sevens tournament. So we didn't know what to expect from other teams. After we played them and see other teams playing, we actually knew what we needed to go and work on back at the training field. So we just went back and then have a chat with the boys and say, guys, we need to up our gear. And for us to compete, we need to train at a bit higher level. For which guys agreed on it, and then they upped their training session, which was good, and the performance of training and the attendance was quite good. And it actually showed today when we played against Pitbulls that we can actually compete and be counted as one of the biggest teams.
Week 4 again provided some intriguing action, with a major highlight being Pitbull's amazing ability to remain unbeaten with a narrow win over Old Georgians, outlining the team's fighting spirit. With his side exposed to grueling quick action, former Zimbabwe Sevens player Graham Colbeck pointed to the significance of the exposure that his players were being handed.
It's a young squad, so they're still learning a lot about the game, but always proud of their work ethic, their attitude out there. We still have lessons to learn, but those will come in time. And credit to Pitbulls, they're a great attacking team of youngsters with a lot of flair and skill. So really well done to them in that second half. It's a tough one for us, but we've got to bounce back and regroup and go from there.
Apart from the vital win over Old Georgians, Pitbulls would cap off their day with an impressive 22-19 win over Mutare Sports Club as they headed into the final week with a perfect record of having not tasted defeat. Match day 5 would mark the climax of the Exide Sevens series, with tournament sponsors satisfied with how the event had run for the entire 5 weeks.
The second edition of the Exide Sevens Rugby has been great, and we've also received a lot of response, especially from the teams. We have 26 teams that are participating at the moment, and from last year, as compared to last year, we had fewer teams, which were about 12 or 13.
Like in previous weeks, Pitbulls dominated, ending the tournament without tasting defeat. For their efforts, Pitbulls would be crowned 2019 champions, being handed with glittering silverware, which symbolized the top performances exhibited by the Jeffrey Madake coached side.
It's another victory, man. The feeling is just sensational, but it's a well-deserved because the way we practiced back at Churchill, you know, you reap what you sow. It's really amazing feeling. It's a really amazing feeling.
Aho Exide, Aho Exide, Aho Exide, the real power. Aho Exide, Aho Exide, Aho Exide, the real power. Aho Exide, Aho Exide, Aho Exide, the real power. Aho Exide, Aho Exide, Aho Exide, the real power.
This year's Sevens tournament was graced by some Zimbabwean greats. Let's hear what they have to say about this year's tournament.
He's been around for a few years as Late Tower, 33 years of age now. This time, Chile have it. Now then, the captain, Grandier, comes with experience earned out in New Zealand and showing a clean pair of heels here to the Zimbabwean defence. The handoff.
A history of Zimbabwean rugby would be incomplete without mentioning the valuable contribution of former Cheetahs captain Jacques Leito, who for a long time captained a side boasting of incredibly talented players such as Gardner Nichironga, Tangai Namadire, Wesley Mbanje, Daniel Hondo, and Gerald Sibanda, just to name a few. Leito was part of the excitement at Belgravia and held the talent that was on show at the 5-week rugby fiesta.
It's always good to see the talent that our nation can produce on the Sevens side, on the rugby side in general, in fact, and it's been very encouraging to see these last few weeks, and you know, thanks to everyone who's put this together. We need more of this sort of thing to expose our players, to give our players more airtime, to actually develop their own games. So it's encouraging to see the bright future that we still have.
To also give his stamp of approval was former Zimbabwe Sevens rugby team manager Bruce Hobson.
Yeah, great. I haven't been in Sevens or rugby for about 5 years. I've been involved with OGs just recently, and it's great to see the depth of talent and so many young players are showing so much promise. And talent has always been a strong point in Zimbabwe, and it's trying to promote that talent to brilliance. And yeah, it's always a challenge, isn't it?
Also part of the formidable Zim Sevens side captained by Jacques Leito, which flourished on the international stage, was Fortune Chipendu, who returned to his roots to coach Mavuku. After witnessing the high-tempo rugby which was on show at Belgravia, Chipendu pointed to the need for a comprehensive tracking system which enables Zimbabwe to capture talented players being given exposure through the Exide Sevens tournament.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that they're not here, but I think as long as we keep on playing the game, this talent will be seen somewhere, someway, and they will get to hear about it, and hopefully they'll get to come and see them and give them a chance to compete for the jersey for the Zim Sevens.
With the majority of influential Sevens rugby personalities giving a thumbs up following an exciting event, the event sponsors were hailed for showing commitment despite operating in a tough economic environment.
This is exactly what Zimbabwe rugby needs. People who got the backbone to carry on, even in tough times. I think the situation is not very nice at the moment, which is nothing that can stop people who've got passion for everything. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's what I believe in. I've never been a softie to myself. I don't give up easily, and I'm happy to see people, companies like Exide, really supporting rugby. This is a magnificent thing that they've done. They've actually done well, better than the National League. The way things have been handled, the way they've been consistent, the way they've managed to officiate everything. I'm very impressed.
One of the major beneficiaries of the Exide Sevens series was Old Georgians, whose preparations for the Dubai Invitational Tournament were enhanced by 5 weeks of competitive action against stiff opposition.
It's really important that we get the game time in, and these young guys are learning these lessons now so that we can keep improving and hopefully be very competitive in Dubai and put up some good performances there. But this is very key for our learning process to go through that.
With there being a consensus that Zimbabwe is indeed endowed with top Sevens rugby talent. Former Zimbabwe Sevens rugby team manager Bruce Hobson outlined the need to develop Sevens-specific training for players with a keen interest in the shorter version of rugby.
I guess it's really to try and develop an ethos for Sevens, a training ethos, an ethos where certain players are conditioned and trained to Sevens specific throughout the year, and that's not always easy. And when I mean to Sevens specific, I don't mean that they're not going to play 15s, but they're conditioning to strength and conditioning in Sevens, and then they will in turn translate into a better all-round rugby player, and that's important, and that's an all year round commitment.
With a buzz of excitement surrounding Tendai Mtawarira's feats with South Africa at the World Cup in Japan, former Sebos player Preach Tenderu highlighted the need for the talent at the Exide Sevens to draw inspiration from Beast.
History like that needs to be told to some of the lighties there at Churchill School, so we can have more people like that. Even if they go to other schools, get sponsorship, get scholarships, that's fine. That's all right. At the end of the day, we want more of them. But what I want to emphasize is, let's have pride for our country. We don't want these youngsters to be taken by other countries now. We want that skill to stay in Zimbabwe and to build. I believe we can do it.
As Zimbabwe takes pride from the achievements of Mtawarira, Jacques Leito urged authorities to ensure budding talent is retained for the benefit of the country.
Definitely got the depth around the world. Yeah, we've got players playing all around the world. We've got players here locally as well who could definitely be able to step up to that level. Unfortunately, we lose a lot of our players because of things that are not conducive for them to stay here and to also study here. So we lose a lot of our players to universities around the world, and the aspirations to play for other nations seems to be greater for them to play for other nations. So we have a Zimbabwe Rugby and the rest of the organizations have a job to do to try and make sure that we can hang on to our players. Unfortunately, too many of them are lost through the cracks, and we just need to see how best we can hold on to them, because certainly the talent is there. We've got players playing in Australia, we've got players playing in England, Romania, all over the world. So certainly it's not a question about talent. I think it's about harnessing that talent, having the right things in place here locally, so that we can systems and things that our players can fit into, and then be able to take their rugby careers from there.
Inside the real power. Oh, inside. Oh, inside. Oh, inside the real power. Oh, inside. Oh, inside. Oh, inside the real power.
Welcome back. Now, we are joined by Harare Province Rugby Board Secretary, my namesake, Shingi Vere. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shingi. Thank you for having me.
Right, we're going to ask you a few questions about the tournament. It was really exciting. So, how would you describe the 2019 edition of the Exide Sevens Rugby Series?
The 2019 edition was excellent. We really enjoyed the whole series in terms of the quality of the rugby, the spectators that came to support, and the general response from all the stakeholders involved. It was very good, and we are happy, but there's always room for improvement. But definitely we're happy with the 2019 edition.
Yeah, I saw there was no glitches at all. How much preparation went into this staging of this year's tournament?
The tournament was hosted last year around about the same time. So in essence, a year's worth of planning went in. So in terms of the teams, approaching teams, making sure that we were covered in terms of all the service providers, literally it takes a whole year for something like this to come together, and we wouldn't have done it without a lot of support from a lot of our stakeholders.
And in terms of the talent, how would you rate it this time around?
The talent was top notch. What we saw last year, the very first edition that we hosted, was teams were finding their feet, teams were learning how to play sevens rugby, because a lot of us grew up on 15s and play solely 15s, but sevens is a niche sport. Everyone was better prepared and the quality of the players on show was much better, and we're definitely very happy with that.
We saw an increase in the number of teams. Did this in any way enhance the level of competition?
Yes, it definitely did. The world over, major sporting events, they're trying to move away from more numbers or more teams and tournaments to more quality, smaller tournaments with smaller numbers of participants. But in Zimbabwe, we're such a small rugby playing nation that we need to pool our resources, pool our teams, pool our talent. So the more teams we have playing, the better. So this year we had 3 out of the 10 provinces represented. We had Mutare that came in, we had Mash East that came in via Southern City, and we are happy that they were able to come and join in, and we would be very happy if the entire nation and all 10 provinces were represented. So we are definitely happy that we had more teams, and we are all the better for it.
It was really an exciting tournament. What does the future hold for such the tournament?
The future holds great things. We want to, on paper, I believe we have the largest sevens tournament in the country as of this, this past weekend. But I believe we can do bigger, we can do better. So there are a lot of things that are in my mind that we have talked about that we want to see happen going forward. And I don't want to get ahead of myself by divulging, but yes, we want to see schools playing. We want to see more women playing, and if it means we're using 2 grounds running parallel instead of just the one ground that we're using, or to have matches on a Friday and Saturday versus having only on Saturdays, then those are some of the steps, the logical next steps that we need to take to make this tournament bigger and better, and to be considerably of more value to the Zimbabwean nation.
Shingi, thank you very much for joining us. That was Harare Province Secretary, who was just reflecting on the 2019 edition of the tournament. We now give you a special feature of Zimbiru Titans, who are based in Domboshava.
Such is the passion of kids that converged at Zimbiru Primary School in Domboshava, where rugby is fast becoming a vital part of the community's culture. With so much time spent on the training ground where a football pitch and 2 rugby balls are what is at their disposal, budding players are hopeful of brighter days ahead of them.
Ndinonzwa kufara uyezve ndinonzwa nyama dzangu flexible kapandomhanya nepandoita ma-stretches iyezve ndoshuvira kuti ndichatambira Zimbabwe, ndoshuvira kuti ndive ndichitambira Zimbabwe, ndichitambira dzimwe nyika tichienda kupi nekupi.
Rugby inondinakidza nekuti patinoenda kuma-games tinosangana vanhu vatisingazivi ende tichinakidzwa navo. Rugby inondingonakidza kuti pandakaitawo captain ava nangoti Mwari makaita henyu, ende futi ndinoshuva kuti ndichazotambira Zimbabwe.
Key to rugby activity in Domboshava is Takudzwa Ngirazi, who highlights the important role rugby has played in keeping children off the streets.
Mazuano munoziva mayouth ari kuita substance abuse, saka at least vakaswera vari panapa vanoona zvekuita than kuti vanoswera vaita zvekuti at least vakaswera vari panapa vanoenda umba anenge aita se anenge aneita overarrest, then uku kotechitira kuti pamwe vanoita se vanooneka maybe one day or 1 or 2 or 3 vanotambirawo national team.
With about 135 children now involved in the game, Farai Maseketi has emerged as one of the shining stars with a visit to her parents' home bearing testimony to her achievements. At first, it was difficult for Farai's mother to accept her daughter's passion for the game following a gruesome injury.
Pekutanga handina kuzvigamuchira noti mutambo wepaakatanga kutamba akatyoka gumbo. Paakatyoka gumbo ndakabatikana nekuti havana rubatsiro rwakakwanisa kundipa. ndakashungurudzika zvisingaite mwana wangu akapedza mwedzi wese ane gumbo ripi iroro. Saka ipapa handina kuzvigamuchira, ndakabatikana ndakati kubva nhasi handisina kuona uchitamba mutambopi iwo inoti unokuvadza. Saka mwana wangu akaramba achienderera mberi asi ndairamba ndichipopota kuti handisida kuti uende kupi kurabhi inoita sei inokuvadza. Baba wacho vese vakati handisida kutombomona achienda, asi mwana akashingira achiti amai ndinogona kuzongobudawo nenyika kana kuzongokuitira chimwe chinhu muupenyu, asi ndaigara chingotuka kuti ungandiitire chiwe nemutambo wako iwoyo. Saka paakazouya necertificate netrophy ndakafara zvisingaiti. Zvanzi mama ndauya netrophy, ndakafara kusvika pakupedzisira, kusvika nanhasi ndakazongoti kugamuchira kuti mutambo uyu wakanaka.
Despite being at loggerheads with her daughter following the injury, scooping accolades has resulted in Farai's mother now realizing the talent that her daughter possesses. With exposure being a vital component in the development of any athlete, competing at the Exide Sevens tournament has helped Zimbiru Titans measure themselves against other teams.
Yeah, sure. This is a very important opportunity for them because the guys, there is no source of motivation. They are just rugby players, but Havana someone who they look up to and admire. But when they come here, they are guys like OGs, already established clubs. With great potential having been shown by Zimbiru at the 2019 edition of the Exide Sevens, there is a positive air of expectations.
Down on the, I want to be one of these. Because matambiro anoita kana tichitoona matambiro anoita pakaipa.
Tingoshingirira kuti zviite kuti tingotambawo nevanhu vahombe ivavo asi hazviite zvingota sevana vadikiwo tinongoshingirira kusvika tasvika pavanenge vari.
I wish kuti tozotambirawo mabig teams emuno Zimbabwe pamwe nekunzo mukana wacho kana wazonyanzobudirira tichitambirawo mabig teams ekunzo.
Exide, Exide, the real power. Exide, 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 the real power. Exide, 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 the